So we've had 3 days now of training camp. We went 1 3-hour practice on Sunday. That was all defense. Yesterday we did 2-a-days, and then today we did like a 2.5-hour practice, and then tomorrow we have 2-a-days, Wednesday, and then Thursday is an off day.
How common are 2-a-days?
They've gotten less and less common because when I was first in the league, the first 5 or 6 days of training camp was 2-a-days. Then they changed it to where the second practice could only be non-contact. And then teams just started doing one longer practice, basically. There's a lot of stuff you have to get in during training camp. Obviously, the movement stuff, banging against people, going live at game speed, that's all different. But then there's a lot of X's and O's. So there's defensive concept, there's offensive sets, there's offensive concepts you have to go over. So even in like a 3.5-hour practice, you may be going live for an hour and a half of it, and the other 2 hours, your mind has to be sort of sharp, and you're listening, and you're focused, and you're on your feet. Though that's the thing. We were talking about this after practice today, where when you add up the total hours from Sunday through today's 2.5-hour practice, I mean, you're talking about 18, 20 hours of time on your feet, and a lot of that is live, and a lot of that is at game speed.
This is obviously you can only speak to your current situation and the Pelican situation, but do you think around the league, because of some of the COVID restrictions, that teams are actually going to be practicing more, or it's going to be pretty similar to like the normal start of the season?
I would assume it's going to be similar to what normalcy is. I also think this year at times will sort of replicate the lockout year because it's such a short turnaround. So, load management and body and injury prevention, all that stuff is going to be of the utmost importance. In the lockout year, we didn't have really time to practice. And even in this season, it's condensed, and we're trying to get 72 games in before May 22nd or May whatever I actually don't know. May 22nd is the end of
that's the end of the regular season.
The play-in. But
yep.
I think the end of the regular season technically is the 18th or something like that. So anyways, I just think with the condensed nature of the season, probably won't practice as much. But I do think during this ramp-up period, you have to sort of get to a point where you're ready to go on the 22nd or you're ready to go on the 23rd to play a real NBA game.
Were you surprised on Friday or Saturday or whenever when you had the media session talking about Stan, how far that went?
I was a little
funny.
bit. I mean,
it was funny. I think it was the stash personally that really people hadn't seen it, and you ranting like a sort of like angry 50-year-old in your mustache was part of what sort of made it go crazy.
For those that don't know, I have a very dry sense of humor, and I oftentimes am sarcastic to a very high level, and I was being sarcastic, obviously. There was some truth to that, for sure, but I was being sarcastic. I mean, literally 2 questions before that, and this is the part that didn't go viral, 2 questions before that, they asked me about Stan, and I said something along the lines of, I have to give him credit for the career I've had, because what I learned from him, especially in those first couple years when I was struggling to find myself in the league, has been so valuable to my longevity. Yeah. And, I've had the career I've had because of Stan Van Gundy, because I got to play for him at a young age in this league. And then 2 questions later, I get a little sarcastic, and that goes viral. Obviously, that's my guy. I love that dude.
What do you think, before we do this, what do you think of Steven and Eric so far, for the new teammates? Even just seeing them practice.
Yeah, I mean, I love the mix of guys on the court, off the court. It's been great. Bled's a super competitor, and I've gotten to battle against him many times. Zion looks really good. Zion looks fit. He's moving really well. His handle looks sharp. He's getting to the cup whenever he wants. I've been really impressed with the level of fitness that he's in right now.
We have one more thing to address before we get to the mailbag. So you've been living with Josh Hart in a Step Brothers-esque situation, watching TV, eating every meal together. Do you want to explain your situation now?
Yeah. So Josh lives with his girlfriend, and I didn't want to sort of outstay my welcome at Josh's house. So I was kind of looking for a place to live. And again, I'm down here on my own. My family's back in New York. And a buddy of mine here in New Orleans, he may or may not be a rock star, has an extra space, an extra apartment. And he was like, yo, do you want to use it? And I said, sure. So I came over to the apartment on Friday. It's great. It's perfect. It's all I need. It's very much like just bare bones, and it's in a great location. And I'm literally next door to his place right now, and his band's doing a live stream show, and so I can hear them. I can hear them in the backyard.
This is a very New Orleans. Everything about the story.
It's a very New Orleans thing. It's great.
That's it.
All right, let's get to the mailbag, and then we'll get to Chris.
From Miles writes in, which non-Pelicans team do you think will make the biggest jump this year?
I'm going to go Atlanta Hawks. They've been sort of at the bottom of the league for the last couple years. I like what they did in the offseason. They're all in on shooting, and at the same time, they still have some versatile wing defenders that can get the job done at the end of the game. I like that they've surrounded Trae Young with other shooters. They have good young players, and then they have guys like Gallinari and Rondo that have come in that know how to play and know how to win. I think that's a team that will make a jump this year.
Cool.
Do you have a team in mind?
I think the Hawks are going to be good. I mean, this is obvious, but the Nets are going to be.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I think people are sleeping on the fact that what KD is going to do when he gets back. And everybody who's seen him play says it's the same guy. And so, I mean, maybe that's cheating, but the preseason will be interesting. It feels weird. The season's about to start. Objectively, I'm sure it's weirder for you, but I think for even the fans, it feels weird.
I've actually said this to a couple people in the Pelicans organization over the last week. This feels like one long season. It feels like one. Like I feel like I got down here to New Orleans last September 30th, and this is just a continuation of that season that started back then, which was over a year. 14 months ago, basically.
Yeah.
By the way, I was talking to somebody from the Nets organization today who texted me, and he was like, KD's really fucking good. I'm like, yeah.
Like,
yeah, we know that.
Newsflash.
Yeah.